I'm Ben Tilton, and I'll have my guests introduce myself. We'll start at the far end. They'll introduce themselves, and then they'll give kind of an example of one of their favorite fairy tales or a preferred fairy tale. We'll start with Julie down there.
Hi, I'm Julie Wright. I write fractured fairy tales and fantasy and science fiction, and everything that I write has romance in it because I love love. I think it works, and it's kind of fun for me. My newest book is Death Thieves. I'm kind of excited about it. It's time travel romance, and my favorite fairy tale. Oh, I have to pick one. I would have to say Jessica Day George's Sun and Moon, Ice and Snow. That was kind of fabulous, and I loved it. So, yeah.
My name is Michael Jensen. I'm young adult fantasy author of Woven. I don't really have, I don't know. As far as fairy tale goes, I grew up on all the Disney classics, and so I still love those. I can watch those at any time, but I think Pinocchio may have actually been my absolute favorite.
My name's Adrienne Monson. I'm a paranormal romance author, so, romance. But just a little segue, I think romance is in everything, so romance. As far as favorite, I love this retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but I don't remember what the title is. It's one of those things I got on Book Club, so I go through millions of those. Started with D though, there were 3 parts, so I started with D. But it was an awesome, dark retelling of Beauty and the Beast.
My name is Dee Wheeler. I'm the author of The Haunting of Spring. Yes, it is The Haunting of Spring Hall. It's my book. I promise I know all about it. And Born to Treason, and they're historical. The ghost and Haunting of Spring Hall might be a little fictional, but there's romance in both of them. I'm a big fan of love stories too, and I love fairy tale retellings. I don't know if I can pick a favorite, but my favorite one to see retold is Beauty and the Beast. I love the Beauty and the Beast. The Beauty and the Beast thing. So I like those retellings the best.
Hi, I'm Sarah B. Larson. I'm the author of the Defy series, fantasy trilogy with Scholastic. This is the last book in the trilogy that just came out earlier this year. And it's a story about a girl who her parents die, and her twin brother convinced her to cut off her hair and pretend that they're twin boys, and she's really good at sword fighting.
Hi, I'm Ben. We've already met. I'm a writer with Salt Lake Underground magazine. My favorite fairy tale story is the juniper tree, just because people get eaten, and it's kind of like if Quentin Tarantino did like a fairy tale kind of twisted and dark. So that's when I go to. Not much of a romance, but anyway. All right, so let's jump into this. Okay, so there's a big gap between Boy Meets Girl and Happily Ever After, and we're going to go over how do you write a romantic plot line that's compelling and satisfying. And there are basic elements that we're going to follow that are kind of essential and turn up in all these stories. Okay, the first element we have is your setting. All right, that's your green rolling hills, or flying castles, desert caves, abandoned mansion with talking furniture. All right, we have the next element, which is, and this happens early on in all these stories, is there's a connection or an instance of devotion, and this can come across in simple lines of dialogue like, as you wish, or it can be an animal companion like mice or a faithful horse, a connection to a family member, or a stolen moment with a prince or princess, anything that gives us an idea about the character's morality. All right, and then the next element we have is the conflict. And this is important because otherwise this panel would be called Happy After and It Was Already Happy, because this is where we see our villain or our formidable circumstance that our character has to face. All right, then we come up on Bravery, because the character has to face the conflict and exercise his devotion to face the villain that might or might not be bad based on the constantly evolving perspective of modern fairy tales. In modern fairy tales, the villain could very well be the hero or the other end of the romance. All right, so can anyone, panelists, anyone in the audience, give me an example of a villain who became a hero or had a happily ever after?
Maleficent.
Maleficent, good example. Anything else?
Maybe not happily ever after, but actually Darth Vader became pretty good in the end.
Darth Vader.
go on a journey with Snape, feeling that he's a villain, and then recognizing him as a type of hero, the anti-hero.
No one for Gaston or anything like that? Great.
This isn't a fairy tale, but have you guys read the Dark Hunter series by Sherlin Kenyon? Anyone? Okay. There's a guy that the whole series, he's the bad guy, and then the last book is from his point of view. And it's incredible. Puts you in tears.
Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time has had an interesting.
So is the queen.
Yeah,
The evil
they've
queen.
done a good job
She's
with it.
constantly saying, "Where's my happy ending?"
Yeah.
Is anybody a Sarah Maas fan? No? Yes? Some nodding heads. Anybody read A Court of Thorn and Roses series? How about Resand? If you haven't read that series yet, I highly recommend it. The first book is actually a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and the second one is Persephone in Hades. But it's amazing. A little adultish. It is definitely has some content in it, but it's fantastic.
All right, and then the next element we come up with is the resolution. That's the, how does it all end? How do we wake the sleeping village? Which dragon is the good dragon? Should we just kill the good dragon anyway? What are we gonna do with the giant fire-breathing dragon? Is this dragon capable of co-inhabiting in a technology-centered universe? Would it have body issues? Will it eventually find true love's kiss? Because this takes us to the soul of the happily ever after, the once-in-a-lifetime love, or true love. And this is the element that kind of sets fairy tales apart from any other part of fantasy, is the idea of the happily ever after. All right, so now I'm going to involve the talent. And today, we're going to go through and we're going to create the most amazing structure for a romance right now for you on stage. I'm going to go down the line, and each of my brilliant guests are going to help construct what could possibly be the greatest romance ever written. All right, now I also need 6 volunteers from the audience, 6 members that are going to experience firsthand the greatest romance ever spoken. 6 hands, go up. Just
You guys are thrilled to do this, I can see.
once, twice.
Wake up, guys. Raising your hand will
Janelle
wake you
will
up.
do it.
There we
Do
go.
it.
Yes.
Want us to go somewhere?
Yeah, if you come sit up here, that would be excellent,
Do
yes.
something.
Any more brave soldiers?
I think you have to sing and dance.
No, it's
You guys are
sacred.
going to perform.
So sorry.
All right, on the far end, you are going to pay attention to everything Michael says, okay? And I'm going to call on you, all right, when the time comes, okay? But just focus on what he's saying, all right? We're just going to go on down the line with this, all right? So the next person, you're going to pay attention to what Julie says. All right, and then the next person, you're going to focus on what Adrian says. All right, you get to focus on what I say.
Okay.
All right, you get to focus on what Sarah says.
Done. We're good.
All right. And you get Wheeler to get in there. All right. What's that?
I apologize in advance for some me.
C'est la vie.
It's good.
Again, I want to reiterate that I don't know what they have to do. So, you know.
I don't know what you have to do either, so hopefully I don't dig a hole for you.
I apologize in advance, maybe.
I hope you're all paying attention to those things.
All right, Michael. All right, and I encourage you, you guys can all ask the audience for help too if you get stuck too. This is a group thing, we're gonna do this together, okay? All right, Michael, without mentioning our character's name, where does the greatest romance of all time take place?
The greatest romance of time takes place in an ice cave. But it glows red because there is a lava flow deep beneath it.
Ooh.
Steamy.
Epic.
Steamy romances here.
Quite literally, though, if you get too close, you get steamed to death.
It's also very treacherous because that ice melts.
There you go.
All right, Julie, you're up next. All right, what is the name of our character? And if you could give us an early example of like a connection or an example of devotion.
Her name is Isa, and she has an amazing, incredible relationship with her mom and her very best friend. And one day the earth shifts and a chasm opens up in the ice, and her mom slips in, and Isa grabs her hand, and she's hanging on, and her hand starts to slip, and she just can't hold on. She's not strong enough, and her mom slips down into the chasm of molten lava, and her last words to her are, "Take care of your father." And her father is super angry because Isa doesn't hang on to her mother, and so holds this against her, and he hates his daughter. But because her mother's last dying words are, "Take care of your father," Isa, who loves her mother, does everything she can to take care of her father and be a good daughter, in spite of the fact that he hates her.
I would love you, by the way.
Did you get all that?
Yes.
All right, next we have Adrian. Adrian, could you set the conflict or the villain in the greatest romance ever written?
Okay. So the ice is starting to sink into the lava of their whole village. And they're trying to figure out what to do. And a guy from a different village that can apparently travel on lava.
I got a boat.
Right, through lava, because lava doesn't burn the boat, right?
I'm sure there's magic involved, but
There we go. Magic is in this setting.
How else would the ice exist above the lava, right?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so
Like an ice wizard.
that's a good point. Anyway, he comes, has a solution to like evacuate the village, but Isa thinks that there might be some ulterior motive he has, so she's suspicious of him, and her father won't listen to her. How's
I think
that
you should
conflict?
fly in on a dragon.
We should do a dragon.
That's cool. Dragons are cool.
Dragons are cool.
Lava dragon.
I'll let you guys choose.
Okay, I'll handle Bravery. All right, so on the boat, they come across a bridge that they have to go under at one point in time, and they brought everything they need with them to travel afterward. And the bridge, there's a troll that's guarding it and kind of monitoring it. And our hero is so brave at this point that he takes off his armor and shares it with the rest of the people on the boat to protect them in order to slay the troll.
Wait, who's the hero? Is he the guy
It's
that
the-
brought the boat?
The guy that she was suspicious of.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Oh, I thought he was the villain.
Yeah, I thought it was the villain too.
I'm getting confused.
There's the twist.
Okay.
He was the villain.
He is the villain.
I'm the hero.
He's great and villainous. All at once. He's a gothic hero, so he's like broody and dark but also a villain. Well, but in gothic
Maybe it's
romance,
like a
they
Pride
always
and
start
Prejudice
out
thing,
with
right? Pride and Prejudice kind of romance. We'll throw that in there.
Pride and Prejudice romance on Lava Dragon.
They can do zombies, they can do
I
lava
hope you guys
dragons.
have got all that.
I'm taking notes.
This is so much better though than the one where I had to come up with like, I was with all science fiction guys and they were like doing spore babies and like tentacles and stuff and there was no women and I'm just like, what? I have nothing to contribute to this story.
And on that note, Sarah, can you give us the resolution to this conflict?
Oh, we're already to resolution?
Yes, but leave a little room for the final act of love.
Oh, good heavens. Okay, so our villainous yet brave gothic dragon person, Troll Slayer, convinces Isa, is that her name? Isa's father that she really is wonderful and he forgives her for letting her mother die and they all escape the tumbling ice meltingness lava village and live in a happy forest with unicorns. And his lava dragon.
Has any of her people
We need the love a lot.
All right.
So,
Now, last we have Emily. All right, Emily, can you give us the final act of love that completes this romantic storyline and gives us the happily ever after?
Yes, I can. So of course, the romantic part is always the internal conflict. That's what we have to come to at the end of a romantic arc. So Isa is able to admit that she was too judgmental towards the gothic dragon riding ice wizard slayer. Bob. That's a good name. She admits that she has been too judgmental towards Bob, and so even though they're living in a forest of unicorns and he's the only one with the dragon and maybe he's gonna take his lava dragon elsewhere, she chases him down before he can go, and he tells her that he is renouncing his vague, villainous way. And they ride off together on the lava dragon into the sunset.
Without being burned to a crisp.
That's right.
Because of the lava dragon.
Okay, volunteers, now it's your turn. All right, starting with you, sir. What is the setting for the greatest fairy tale romance of all time?
Egyptian pyramid.
Okay, moving right along. All right, now,
Wait.
Wait, what are we doing?
Oh,
Are we
rewriting or are we
writing a
repeating
new
what
one,
they
or are we repeating what you
no,
guys
you're
said?
just repeating back what they said. We're just saying.
Oh.
We're
Oh, we're
right
not
now
creating a new
We're taking
one.
all of that and then.
Oh, I thought you guys were gonna show us up and do better.
No.
So,
You guys are putting the story in order. So it's
Oh,
nice to
okay.
get that right. So now we're starting from the beginning. and we're
of
going
everything you said,
with everything that came
Okay.
out here. Yep.
Everything.
everything, including that little hiccup.
Feel free to embellish though, that would make it more fun. That's okay.
Does that help at all? Okay.
So they're in an ice cave, the deep lava flow under the ice cave.
Perfect. All right. All right, we need the connection or instance of devotion.
So we have Isa, who loves her mother more than anything. And when the chasm opens up in the ice cave and her mother is falling, she grabs hold, and the mother tells her for her last words to take care of her father, who I gather they don't, I don't know, maybe they get along, but she really loves her mother. And when her mother dies,
Oh,
Shall we go get that?
microphone just so everybody else can hear.
Just recapping what we said, I mean, if you guys haven't missed anything.
It's a recap.
so her mother tells her to take care of her father and dies. And so that's Isa's, she's determined, seriously.
That
Totally
is
is.
the greatest romance ever written today before you guys. All right, everyone give a hand for your volunteers.
We're plotting this
Oh,
Now
we
we'll
plotting
open
for
them up
each
for
other.
That's true,
questions.
that's true.
So if anyone wants to come up and ask questions, to the microphone stand and ask away. Annoy you.
Yes. Yes,
And
I
what
do.
are they?
I have strong feelings about it. I hate when the only thing keeping the love interest, the two characters apart, is like that they don't have like a 3-minute conversation where they
Oh,
resolve
yes.
all the
Thank you. Oh my God.
tropes can be so fun, like the enemies to lovers, brother's best friend, and all those, you know, the fun tropes that you see in romance. But please do not make the only thing keeping your characters apart.
Okay, adding on to that, I think it's kind of a fine line, that answer, because everybody likes a cliche. We grew up on them, we're sentimental with them. That's why tales that we grew up on are being retold today, right? So you can have those tropes in whatever you're writing or watching or whatever, but it needs to be done well. You have to have a good, solid conflict, a good, solid character arc, and a good, solid romance arc for it. So if you have that, you're not going to run into that problem of, oh, well, I overheard somebody say this and it's a big misunderstanding and I'm going to be upset and go over here and not get married now. You know, it's so contrived, it makes you mad. You just want to like tear pages out of the book when that happens.
Othello comes to mind.
Othello?
Yes, because that's basically what happens in Othello.
So don't
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah, Shakespeare was like the original misunderstanding.
Well,
I
I think maybe there's a difference too between, so tropes are sort of just like, they're almost archetypal, they're like classic patterns that you see happening over and over in stories, whereas a cliche is something that has been overdone to the point where it doesn't have that development. I think that is what makes the difference
Yeah.
between a cliche and a trope.
And
is how
in
it's
defense of
developed.
Othello, there was an evil villain manipulating them to be apart from each other instead of it being just in their own heads.
Absolutely.
In Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, there was, you know, the ultimate. It could have been solved with a communication if she had known that, you know, Wickham really was a bad guy and that he really did believe that her sister was unaffected by Bingley's great love. That conversation would have been a 3-minute conversation. Oh, you really don't suck. Okay, but
Instead, it was a letter.
so it was okay to have that there a little bit. A little bit was okay because there was so much else going on. We had a sister who was a little deviant and went off with the villain, and you had all sorts of other things going on. And then there were classes where they weren't quite quite equal in spite of the fact that she was a gentleman's daughter. So that existed, so there was just a little piece of it. The thing that really, really, really gets me was that the 3-minute conversation is really literally the only thing. There's nothing else keeping them apart. And it's like, oh, come on, failed a little.
Romance should always have more than the external. It should have something internal keeping them apart. I think that's why we forgive Elizabeth and Darcy, is because they have their pride and their prejudice, which keeps them from talking to each other. And so it's those internal, their own flaws and their own internal struggles make those things forgivable and make them not a cliche.
Because you watch them overcome those things and
Yeah.
get to that climax at the end.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Back here. Hey, so just, you're talking a lot about internal conflict, which I think is one of the major parts of a romance, of any kind of romance. So when you're in an attempt to just kind of like have some sort of little conflict on every page, do you have any tips at like throwing rocks at your characters? Do you have any tips about your process for that though? I mean,
Yeah,
some
so
are big, some are
basically-
small, but it's sometimes you get to a spot where you're like, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, so then you